good morning, Bermuda. Good afternoon, Kamau. Welcome to a special edition of the Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm your host, Earl Bass, and joining me is the IC America's T20 Player of the Tournament MVP, Kamau Leverock. First of all, Kamau, congratulations on helping to guide Bermuda to the final stage of the World Cup qualifiers. You and I have been talking off and on even prior to this tournament. What were your personal aspirations going into this particular tournament? Can you hear me?
Personally, as an all-rounder, I wanted to be the best, bowler and batsman. Didn't have to bowl as much, It was quite slow deck, so spinning wickets and the spinners did their jobs. But I just had to make sure that I got the batting award.
One of the things, you're been described as an explosive batsman, especially in the shorter form of the game. What have you worked on over the years that makes you this aggressive person? And you kind of cherish your wicket, but in a way that you attack in a safe mode.
Years ago, I had a coach that told me, I have a strange ability to turn good balls into boundary balls. But he said that I'd have to do it in a safer way. So in the last few years, I've been trying to find a way to do it safer. He said if you hit 100 balls and 60 of them you hit safely, that's better than hitting 20 of them safely. So these last few years I've been just trying to make sure I can manipulate the ball, figuring out the angles that I bring the bat down in the bat path and to find gaps or go aerial. Having a clear plan, that's pretty much my game.
The warm-up matches, the the T20 internationals against Argentina prior to the start of the tournament, did those set you up only because you got a chance to see and feel those wickets in Argentina?
Kind of, but I'm not much of a guy that overly assesses wickets. I'm more of a guy that if I'm hitting balls on anything, it could be concrete, sand, as long as I'm hitting balls, I can adapt well to the pitch. So I think if anything, the couple of games that we had on the matting in Tampa pretty much set the tone for it.
Yeah. Now, that 96 in the second match against Argentina, how disappointed were you in yourself when you got out on 97?
I actually didn't really know too much about what I was on until I got to about, I think it was 93. But it's funny because I've played a few games at that ground. I think I've played like maybe 3. And the 3 games I have played at that ground were 93, 97, and then 103. So it was kind of hanging over my head, actually, the third time. Maybe third time's a charm. But yeah, my average at Belgrano is fairly high, batting wise.
Yeah. Well, let's look at these games. The first game against Cayman, you got off to a start 48 off of 30. But how important was it that Bermuda set the tone, and obviously you and Trey put on 79 for that first wicket, and Trey was out for 26, and then you and Dalray batted for a while. You got out, and then we got to that 173. But how important was it to get that good start, especially as the openers?
Yeah, well, I like to look at statistics. So in T20, if you lose 3 wickets in the power play, then you're at a 70 or 80% chance of losing the match because it's hard to recover from that. So I'll go with me and Trey, who's quite a classical batsman. He hits the gaps well. So he's going to be low risk as it is. So with me and him, and with Frey batting three, I think it's highly unlikely that we will do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just have that freedom of just taking on the bowlers that I want to and targeting whatever bowler that I feel I need to target.
Yeah, and then you turn around and you bowl in that inning, and you had 3 for 15, bowling out came in for 77. What did you see in the wicket when you were batting that helped you in the bowling department, especially for this particular game?
It was pretty much about learning from Cayman's mistakes. Cayman, when they did change the pace, they were very full. But if you change your pace back of a length, it was very hard to hit. So I just pulled my length back that much more to make it harder for them to actually accelerate.
Sure, sure. And I mean, then we go to that next game where um, we take on Argentina again,
Yeah.
which was Argentina were considered going into the tournament as one of the favorites to advance to Bermuda. You would have thought they won the match when you got out for three.
Yeah.
The way they celebrated, they wasn't there. Oh, seeing his back, that's okay. We're gonna celebrate like we just won it. But sheer disappointment because we saw in that particular match, we saw the class of Trey and Taryn as well as Del Rey coming on to score 220 for two of a big total against a team. Well, we had been putting on runs against them, but I mean, to be able to sit back for once and watch it from the sideline. How did you take that part of the game, sitting there watching your teammates? What usually watch you do the same thing?
Actually, in reality, that game actually set my tone for the rest of the tournament as well. Because then that kind of relinquishes my fear of getting out. If I get out, the team suffers. I've actually realized that if I get out, the team doesn't suffer. We have more than enough firepower coming down from the end. I was saying to Derek Brayman the other day, he's the only guy I know that can score the most runs in a domestic league and go on tour and bat number 10, number 11. So, so that kind of helps me, just have that much freedom at the top of the order.
Then you restricted those guys to 110 for 9. You only bowled 2 overs that day. You weren't really needed. I mean, Del Rey got 4, Malachi got 3. So having kind of a quote unquote day off from other than being out in the field. As you said, it was set the tone for you for the tournament because of the way that you set up, especially the very next game against Panama. We bet first again. That's when you got the 103 off of 58 balls. You set the tone. We were 196 for 1. Let me ask you, 196 for 1 off of 20 overs. Were you guys disappointed with the total amount of runs you got over the 20 overs?
Not necessarily. We were trying to pretty much all of us look to see how we would play, against certain opposition. So Bermuda tend to have tournaments where we go up and down with our game. So we were basically trying to be ruthless and no matter what's in front of us, we play hard, make sure we establish our brand of cricket, which is defending scores. As you can tell, we look to set scores and make sure before we get back to the next phase, make sure we nail how we want to play that type of cricket, and hopefully we have more games before September together as a unit where we can further nail that brand of cricket.
Then you turn around and you bowl 2 overs, taking 2 for 15. Pretty long day for you, even though it's a T20. To turn around in that heat, you batted for majority of the inning, and then off your feet for a few minutes, and then back out onto the field to actually bowl. how were you able to recover enough after that game to make sure that you were in the best shape to play that next game? I know that the next game was a few days later, but just knowing that you had played these X amount of games, or I think it was 5 games over a short period of time in that heat. How did you make sure that you recovered enough to play that final match and make sure that Bermuda would secure the top spot without losing?
Yeah, basically over the years that I've been playing, in all of these T20 tournaments around America and around the world, you learn how to take care of yourself. You learn how to hydrate efficiently. So basically, the next 3 days, I had a day where I just relaxed, went to a ranch, had some wine and stuff. But then the 2 days after that was pretty much drinking water and make sure I get my electrolytes in. Um, Before I left, my uncle gave me a massage gun, so I used that massage gun. Just making sure I take care of myself, getting into the next game, so I'm fully relaxed and fully able to do what I need to do.
Mm. And then obviously that final game against the Bahamas, um, the first time on the tour in Argentina that you guys actually batted second. Um, I noted that right off the bat, you guys had Bahamas in a lot of trouble. You got 1 for 13 off of 4, Dalray 2 for 18 off of 4, Derek 4 for 15 off of 4, Jabari Darrell 1 for 13 off of 4, and Malachi 1 for 12 off of 4. But just restricting them to the total,
I have
you
to,
know.
you might have to say that again. Dell's just calling me on the phone.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying in your final match, yeah, he knows your one. That's why he done it. The final match against the Bahamas was the first time that you guys in throughout the tournament batted second. But what was the turn set, or what was the talk before the inning of the Bahamas? Because I mean, you guys didn't give up much over. They were at one point in time 8 for 49, 9 for 54, 6 for 19. But you guys were not giving away runs.
Basically the deck was a bit green, had a bit of moisture on the top of it. So we just decided that if we hit, certain areas and didn't give them much room or give them much pace on the ball, that they wouldn't be able to go, flying away from us. Um, so I think, what really started it was over that Jabari build,
Hmm.
coming into the team. He bowled a very, very good first over. I think it was like the third over of the day.
Yes.
So that kind of just set it up for the rest of the bowlers coming on. It made that easier for them as long as you, on a deck like that, as long as you hit your areas, you're going to get rewards.
Yeah. And of course you had that no nonsense mood, man. It was your turn to bet out there. 48 off of 26, easing our way into the total of 74 off of 7.2 overs. Um, looking at your performance overall, what would out of 10, how would you rate your all round performance?
Um, uh, Probably maybe a 9, maybe a 8, 9.
Mm.
In the Argentina game, obviously didn't really do much. Maybe the 2 overs that I bowled were still quite vital to the game. The ball was flying around in the power play, so to bowl 2 overs in the power play for 6 was what the team needed. Um, as far as the batting wise, in that game, 3-1s, the type of tournament you're having, you're gonna feel like you underachieved that day. Although I did hit the ball fairly clean,
Yeah.
you still think like, what if it was, left or right of that
And you
player?
got it on
So
the second attempt.
yeah, exactly. It was hit pretty hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, so probably maybe an 8 or 9. I would give that to her.
Okay. So now tell us what's the plan for you going forward leading into the season? Are you going to be in Bermuda? Are you planning to stay in the UK? What's the plan?
So I'll be in playing for Handsworth this season in the Birmingham League.
Hmm.
And then I also have a few, T20s in the US, so I'll be between there and Birmingham. But the back end of this summer, I don't know. It depends on what plans Bermuda Cricket Board have for the team. If they have some plans, then I would obviously meet up with the team to play.
Opportunity for Bermuda to go to England and play Handsworth. How's that?
Yes, the Handsworth will always be welcome. They have a few ex-pros that play for them, so it'll be good competition.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so when does that season starts in April, doesn't it?
Yeah, that'll be mid-April. So I think my first game is April 16th,
Oh,
around that
okay.
time.
Okay. Now, obviously, the big thing for this year for Bermuda is that final that will be held in Bermuda end of September into October. Um, Looking at the team, looking at those that could possibly be additions to the team, how do you think the spirit is right now amongst you guys, the cricketers uh, that are right now representing the country?
A lot of the guys have said, when our tournament wrap up, that this is probably the best vibes of a team that they've ever been involved in. The spirits were very, very high on this tour. Everyone had a laugh. We were pretty much like family on this trip. Nobody was nobody was angry at anything. Nobody had any dust ups. It was just smooth sailing from beginning to end. So the team, anyone that comes in, or anyone that may come in to the team going forward, they just have that type of vibe. Make sure they come in and just go with the flow that's going on with the team.
Mm. When you look at um, the everybody's already penciled in the one game, whenever that game will be against Canada, as the decider for who gets that spot. The shorter form of the game, how do you rate our chances?
Um, T20 has a knack for bringing teams closer.
Hmm.
Um, so even though we feel like that game is the decider, we can't make that the be and end all. We
Hmm.
still have to take those other games, just as serious, because anything can happen in T20. You see it all the time where, one of the first T20 competitions in England, the Netherlands beat England. So,
Hmm.
the margin for error is quite smaller. Um, but I said to the lads in one of our first team meetings that, um, you know, roughly there is 3 hours of hard cricket, between us and the World Cup. So it's about how bad you want it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And if it's 2 games, we have to play against Canada. Because last time it was a four team tournament, we played 6 games. If it's 2 games against Canada, it's 6 hours of hard cricket. You know what I'm saying? Just you have to believe in how bad do you want it for yourself, how bad do you want it for your team, how bad do you want it for your country.
Mm. Mm. And the support you would want from the country to rally behind this team to ensure that you guys feel at home, you get that home support. What would you say to the fans right now?
I would actually say just bring the same vibes that they brought in 2019 to help us beat USA twice. That those vibes were unmatched. I think, playing everywhere that I played, and playing cup match and playing Eastern Connie, I think 2019 was probably the best I felt on a cricket field playing. So just bring those same vibes that we had in 2019, and or even take it up a notch. You know what I mean? Help us get that much better to go to the World Cup.
All right. Well, we'll be looking out for your numbers in the Birmingham League, playing for Handsworth, and of course, when you travel back to the States for those T20s that you're committed to play for. Now, are you still with Florida, or who you with now?
Yeah, I was supposed to be still with Florida. There's Houston Open in May. The
Uh-huh.
last time I went to the Houston Open, um, I played for the Titans.
Yes.
So I'm not too sure what's going to happen this Houston Open.
Hmm.
Just waiting on my agent to let me know who I'll be playing for, because I know the Titans and the Scorpions have merged.
Yes.
Um, and then there's Unity Cup that I played in, I think it was Washington D.C. for
Right.
the Scorpions, and Trey went along as well.
Hmm.
So those are both in May. One's at the beginning, one's at the end of May. So I just have to wait and see who I'm playing for.
All right. All right. Well, we wish you all the best this season. Keep cracking them, and save some for end of September into October, and then it's on to either the U.S. or the West Indies for the 2024 Cricket World Cup T20. And I know that's something that you would cherish, having watched your uncle represent Bermuda in the 50 over Cricket World Cup. It'll be something special for the family. I know for sure that you guys you can help lead Bermuda to another milestone of a Cricket World Cup. So all the best this summer. We'll be in touch with you. You get yourself some rest and be ready for the start of the season. Um, and you can stay up there for those 2 days in August, July, whatever it is.
I
as,
don't know.
as,
We'll see.
huh?
We'll see. We'll see.
As we try to wrestle that thing away from there's Undertakers of Somerset. All right, brother. You
All
enjoy the
right.
rest of your day, okay?
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too.
Okay.